What's up? Hope everyone's having a good day and is ready for another video in the series we like to call Underrated Throwers. Today we got one of my favorite throwers ever, David Strol, who I think is becoming severely underrated. At one point in time, this guy was a junior world record holder, the youngest, I think he is actually still the youngest world champion ever. And this is the throw that made him the youngest world champion ever. I think he was still a junior during this time. I think he was like 19, 18. He was extremely young here, throwing a personal best of I think like 21.90 or something here in the 2011 World Champs in Daegu, Korea. Against some stat competition like Andre Miknovich, Dylan Armstrong, Reese Hoffa, Adam Nelson, Christian Cantwell, just a whole plethora of Thomas Majeski, who I will actually make a video later on for this series because he's underrated too, but just he competed against some of the most stacked competition ever for a time. And he was kind of dominated the years from like 2011 to, I would say, 2014, right basically before 2015. He still got a silver medal at the 2015 Worlds, but once Joe Kovacs got on the scene, David Strol stopped being like that dominant force because yeah, and then Kovacs came in 2015, and then Krauser came, and then just this whole wave of just insane people. But let's not get it twisted. David Strol, for I would say around a 5-year stretch, was the most dominant shot putter of that stretch, and one of the last great gliders ever, I think he's the last 22-meter glider ever, with a PR of 22.20, which, fun fact, is the same PR as John Godina. And he's still young. Even nowadays, he's only 33 years old right now. But he's just been plagued with injuries. I think he's retired. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he's retired. I don't know, but I hope he hasn't because I love to see him throw. But yeah, he's just had so many injuries and all that. And yeah, but he had some great battles against Ryan Whiting in Indoor Worlds and just a whole bunch of great battles with legendary shot putters, and almost always came out on top. Never could get that Olympic gold, but he got Olympic silver in 2012. Two-time world champ in 2011, 2013, with a silver medal in 2015, multiple-time European champion. I'll list all his accomplishments, his height, weight. He's like 6'6", 258 around, and all that in the video description as always. But let's get into the throw. So first we'll see, as you can see, second place, so not only that, clutch as hell. Boom. I think that was around like 22.90 or 22.80. Something like that. So we'll watch it one more time. As you can see, just an absolute unit of a man. God. I mean, this guy is crazy. Like, one of the best athletes ever to throw. Which you gotta be to be a glider. You'll usually see the best athletes are usually gliders. I mean like athletes. I mean like they could do any sport and be good at it. They could just do anything. And I mean, he's young here. I think he's not even 20, I think. I think he is still to this day the youngest world champion ever. This was his first year being a senior level athlete as well. Like, I think he came, and don't quote me on this, I think he came off winning Junior Worlds or the Junior Olympics this same year, and then like a month later was competing, and in qualification threw like a meter PB at like 21.50, came out here through let's see, what was his mark? 2160, a PB in his second throw. And this first round foul, I remember, was way past 21 as well. And then he came out here and threw like 2180, 2170 or something on his last throw, where you can see Armstrong took the lead by 4 centimeters. And Miknovich is in third. But, just an absolute clutch performance. Same with his discus counterpart, Robert Harding. I don't know what they feed these Germans, but they just come up clutch whenever they need to. But so let's get into the technical analysis. So I love his start. First of all, first and foremost, I love the way he glides. It's just like Ulf Timmerman, just good old style German gliding. Just Germans in general just have the best technique. I don't know what they do over there, but I need to get me some of that because their technique is sublime, especially discus. But I love this little wrap he gets at the start. How he kind of curls his left arm a little bit. I think that's really good because that helps him keep a little wrapped and not open up too much. And then a lot of people don't like this kind of T that he makes, like kind of with his left foot, kind of bringing it over on this side of the ring. I personally really like that because I think if he was to just go straight, he would land blocked off and it's a lot harder. But here it's a lot more natural for his left foot to get down here. I can't draw when I zoom in. Sorry. Hold up. All right. Over here. So I think I really like that. But some people coach it differently. That's just not the way I coach it. And I love... So let's back up. I love the setup. Oh, does it show? Oh, it doesn't show him throwing it up. David Strol does a very iconic thing where he's oops, wrong way. Where he's here and it didn't show it because, you know, camera people and throwing don't mix, I guess. But he throws it up in his left hand and then just catches it way above his head. It's a very iconic thing. It just looks so cool. I mean, he's just so swaggy when he throws. I don't even know how to even say it. Like, it just, the way he throws just looks so cool. It's just so aesthetic. In the best way possible. So he gets here, drives off the left. Amazing here. Right here. Up a little. Actually, well, no, not even up a little. People will say, well, first of all, and I know you can't see this because it's a back angle, but his back is rounded. That is not rounded. Whatever, you get the picture. Is rounded. Ooh, that's why I'm not an artist. But is rounded this way. So when you do that, when you like hunch over a little, it's a lot easier to stay down. Whereas if you're just arched, like a back squat or something, you're gonna immediately want to pop up when you drive back. So he being hunched, but still have a little tension, and you have to find that. You don't want to be completely relaxed, but you don't want to be super tense when you throw in the glide or in the rotational shot either. Well, actually, in any throwing event, you shouldn't really be that tense in the upper body at all. But in glide, you kind of want to feel a little hunch with your low back and mid back, and then a little more tension in the upper back. In your shoulder blades. Alright, so he does a great job here. Boom, boom. And you notice when he goes, his feet land at the same time, and I'm a big proponent of that. Because unlike the rotational shot put, where your right grounds, if you're a right-handed thrower, when your right grounds in the middle and then your left goes, in the glide, you want the feet to basically land at the same time. All right, in the glide, the two most important things in the glide is for you to stay low and get to the front of the ring as fast as flipping possible, because you don't have the momentum and all the time in the world to make the like you do in the rotation. So you create that momentum. That's why the glide takes a very specific type of athlete. They're usually like 6'6 plus, just ripped, just supremely competent, explosive athletes, just absolute units of humans. And those people tend to make the best gliders, for men at least. So that's one thing to keep in mind too, if you're wanting to decide a style. If you're built like David Strol, first of all, more power to you. Second of all, maybe you want to be a glider. People dog on the glide and stuff, but if you find the right athlete, you can throw really far with a glide. Okay? I don't think it's a dead style. I think it still has its place, because not everyone thinks rotationally, okay? Some people just think linearly, and some people just can't wrap their heads around the rotational shot, and that's fine. Be a glider. All right? There's no shame. If people make fun of you, tell them to, first of all, screw off, because they're just weird. And then, second of all, just say, hey, someone in Elf Timmerman threw 23 meters as a glider. Warner Gunther did 2270 something. Andre Alexander, I'm blanking on his name. I can never pronounce a lot of these guys' names without sounding weird. So, but the Italian guy, who I made a video on, Alessandro Andre or whatever, I forget his name, threw like 2280. You know, like almost all like the top 25 in history, a lot of them are still gliders. All right? And like Thomas Majeski, he won 2 Olympic titles being a glider in a row. One of only 2 people to ever do that. And guess what? The other person's Ryan Krauser. And then David Strol, 2-time world champ, multiple medals, dominate through over 22. You know, I mean, you can do good as a glider. And especially for women, still to this day, the only woman in recent history to ever throw over 21 was a glider, Valerie Adams. So, and you know, she's considered by many to be the GOAT of shot put, both men and women. And Ryan Krauser might have something to say about that, but when you just look at her total body of work, I mean, Jesus Christ, she is crazy. You know, I mean, Dogmo, even like modern people today, like Gong throws over 20. Like, there are still 20-meter plus women that throw the glide. So it's not dead, all right? It's definitely not dead. All right, just, you know, it just takes a specific type of athlete. So it's up to you or a coach or both to figure out which one you are. But we'll get back to David Strol. Sorry for that little rant. So he gets here. Very nice position. Lands. Perfectly wrapped. Back. Over his right. And then you see how his right knee goes a little this way? That's what you want in glide in rotation and in discus. You want that right knee, if you're right-handed, to go a little out and then around. And in glide, you don't really want to think about rotating. Glide is kind of like jav, where you don't really want to spend too much time on the ground, because that will slow you down. Because the reason why you want to stay in the ground and rotate a lot in the rotational shot or in discus is because you have rotational energy. So that doesn't slow you down. But in the glide and in the jav, you have a bunch of linear energy and really no rotational energy to help you not slow down in that when you turn the right foot. So you do turn the right foot, but you want to think almost like if you ever do like a step over drill or something, it's not really turning. But you also don't want to think about jumping up in the air. You want to think about pushing over your left side block. So you do turn, but you notice how he's not really turning his right foot, how he's not turning his hips. And that's what you want to feel. And then that just gets him out. Because you just want to, if you look at his tempo here, so he's here. You see how he just gets to the front and then just boom? That's what you want. All right? Everything in glide happens so quick. All right? So you don't want to waste time like turning and working the ground. Well, okay, sorry. You do work the ground in glide. You work the ground in every throw. But it's more like a jab release a little. Where like you don't really want to turn, and it's hard to like see this in a video. But especially at this angle, I wish they recorded this a little more at a side angle so you could really see. But he really just gets turned with his hips mainly while pushing over his block leg. In glide especially, you get, first of all, a little higher of a release and also a little more out. All right? So you want to think about pushing all over that toe board and getting that shot out of your hand as quickly as possible while still working it, obviously. You still need to release it, so don't just... You still got to release it properly, but the release in glide has to happens a lot faster. All right? So that's something to keep in mind. And you'll notice another similarity to jab and glide is this left arm. How it's here and then goes down. All right? Like his elbow goes down instead of around and is straight. Most gliders you never see with a straight block. Like a straight left arm block. They always bend it and go down. Because the reason why you see rotators go around instead of just straight down is because they're rotating around the finish. So if they were to do... if they were to block like a glider with their upper body, they would pull because this would knock them off and stop them turning. This would knock them off their orbit. All right, but in glide and in jab, when you pull this left arm down really aggressively, it keeps you driving linear. All right, because if he was to go around with his left arm like that, if he was to go around and keep going around, he would rotate. And you don't want that. You look at almost any good glider, they really never rotate with their right foot. All right? And that's because everything is going forward. All right? It's not rotate then forward. It's just forward. All right? So there are big differences. Gliders also usually have a really strong block. So you notice here, just... this whole left side just does not move. Like, even still, it's this far out of his hand and his left is still there. Like, his left shoulder is still there. And it doesn't even move, really. It stays in that same place. And you'll notice also a difference between a glide reverse and a rotational reverse is that rotational... And sometimes this happens in rotational throws, but usually in a rotational reverse, you switch feet and you kind of spin around a little. In glide, this is when you know you have a good glide reverse. When you go forward and then all your momentum stops going forward. And you notice here how when he's here, the second he goes and hits his reverse, he bends this right knee, and normally if you feel like you're falling forward, you want to look back towards the back of the ring, and that shifts your momentum back so you don't fall out the front. But because he's this experienced, he's just looking at the ground, which if that works. But even in all the throwing events, you never want to watch where the implement lands until you're fully securely balanced on the floor. So you notice this whole time, okay, it does cut off, but he's perfectly balanced. He's not going to fall at the front. But then you see that little split second where he goes to look at where it lands. All right? That's when you look. All right? When you're fully secure. Because I see a lot of people foul like this, even professionals. All right? Even Olympic level people foul like that. So it's very important. Do not watch where the shot lands. Do not watch where the discus lands. Don't watch where the hammer lands, and don't watch where the jab lands. All right? It will land where it lands, okay? It is not that important because guess what? If you foul, it's 0 meters. It's 0 feet, all right? So it doesn't matter. The most important thing, once it's out of your hand, is staying in that ring, all right? Unless it's just a really bad throw, then just walk out. That's actually one of my pet peeves when people... Like, if you're like a 50-foot shot putter and you just throw like 20 feet, it just goes off your hand, and you still make this poor old official just go walk all the way back to measure this pitiful throw. I mean, like, just walk out the front, okay? Like, if you know it's just a super bad throw, then just walk out the front, okay? Because you're just wasting people's time, all right? And you're just keeping people there longer, all right? But that's just a pet peeve of mine, all right? So he's here. That's really it. I mean, glide, there's not much to really say. In terms of full throws, the glide is basically as simple as it gets. You know? There isn't really that much to it. Again, the most two important thing is just stay down. The second your feet get down, just finish. Just smack the hell out of it. All right? Like, you cannot... You can't throw a glide easy. Everything has to be explosive. Everything has to be athletic. Everything. There are no throws off in glide. Like, there's no like, oh, well, maybe I'll try like a little less, or I'll take a 60% throw. Because especially in glide, like, you can go really slow in a rotational throw and like have it work. In a glide, you can't really move, because if you don't move at a certain speed, you'll just fall. All right, you'll just lose balance, you'll just lose tension, just something will happen. So you have to go at a certain speed for the throw to work, just like rotational speed. Although the rotational throw can happen at a lot slower speeds than a glide. All right, but yeah, we'll take one more look at this beautiful throw. And David Strol actually was a reverser, and then like in the middle of a career just decided to just be a non-reverser through 22, and then just started to go back to reverse for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah. And I will say glide shot put is the only shot put I will say that you can non-reverse in and throw far. There's a reason why you never see rotational shot putters ever non-reverse in a competition. It's because it's so hard to stay in with rotational energy and linear energy if you just do a non-reverse. Now, discus, you see people non-reverse because it's a bigger ring and they have the room to recover. And shot put, no. You'll see almost any good rotational shot putter in practice, if they non-reverse, they just almost always foul. If they're like actually trying to throw far, they're always just like foul out the ring because there's no point in saving it. It's really extremely hard to save a throw, a non-reverse throw. You have to be super on point as a rotational thrower, but even then it just doesn't go very far compared to a reverse. So that's the reason why you never see you see like gliders non-reverse, but not rotational shot putters. All right, so that's another thing I will say is that if you really want to throw far as a rotational thrower, reverse. All right, for shot put, reverse. That's really it. I mean, there's really no I consider myself a student in the sport, and I cannot think of one single thrower that did a true non-reverse in comp that threw over 20 meters. All right? I can't. So that's something to keep in mind too. Also with the glide, I'm kind of waffling a little bit because there isn't that much to say. Oh, I don't know why. Oh my god, I'm at 25 minutes. All right, I'll see you guys later. Yeah, I hope you guys learned something. And if you ever want to watch a supreme athlete train, watch a glider train. Like one of these elite, like there are videos of David Strol's training, just doing these insane drills. And watch them pre-injury. Like watch them around this time, like 2011 and stuff like that. Like 2011 to 2014, like those types of training stuff that he was doing. Insane training stuff. And then you'll get a sense of how much an athlete he is. Same with Werner Gunther, who I made a video on too. Just insanely insane athletes. Not to say rotational shot putters are, but I feel that elite level, like 22 plus meter gliders, or really high level, like 21, like 80 plus thrower, like gliders, are just on another spectrum of athleticism because they need to be to throw that far with a glide. So that's really it. And yeah, that's really it. So I hope everyone learned something. I hope you guys have a new little appreciation for David Strol if you didn't already. And yeah, see you guys later.